Well, first things first, thank you guys so much, everyone who came out, showing me a lot of love. That was fucking awesome. Players fuck up. I mean, I was on an 8-fight win streak. Felt like things were going smooth until I got hit with a fucking body shot. Shit happens. It's part of the game. It took 6 years for someone to finally beat me. I'll be back.
Bro, almost finished.
You know, a lot of people talk about Strickland, the things he says and stuff like that. But I think a lot of times people forget he's actually world class in this division. And I thought tonight his performance was unbelievable. What did you think of Sean and his performance tonight?
Yeah, he was in great shape tonight. Looked good, sharp, and got the job done.
Were you expecting more wrestling from Fluffy? It seemed like he had some success on the feet and wanted to keep it there. Were you expecting him to maybe mix it up a bit more?
I don't know what I was expecting. You know, if you bet $300,000 on Strickland tonight, you won $1 million. A couple people did it on Polymarket, and so you know, I don't think a lot of people expected Strickland to look as good as he did tonight.
You have obviously made the case for the Hamzat fight. I feel like it's probably one of the biggest fights in the division.
Yeah, no, I mean, nobody who wants to see fucking two little go at it. You want to see a real fucking American fight this little Chechen in American soil. This is the fight that needs to happen.
I know the answer to this, but right, when you look at Strickland and what comes next for him, you know, he's calling for a Hamzat fight, stuff like that. There's no, like, what he says during media day and things like that. That doesn't affect your booking of him, right? You are still happy to put him in those?
It's a nightmare. But you guys don't help. Asking them dumb shit, you know. Ask dumb shit, you're going to get dumb shit. What'd you think of Bad Bunny? What'd you think of the Super Bowl? Get the fuck out of here. You fucking kidding me? Yeah.
I'm just happy, dude. Like, it's my job. I love it. Like I said, I can't tell you how many times I've been in that blue room where Fluffy is, my head down, having to go see my family and some piece of shit. It's like, I understand the duality of it. I understand what it's like to win and lose. So it feels good, but at the same time, there's another man that's going home, you know, feeling like the biggest piece of shit. So happy and sad at the same time.
Alright, so this weekend, Saturday night, UFC Houston, Sean Strickland taking on Alexander Fluffy Hernandez in a very pivotal matchup in the middleweight division. You gotta think that whoever wins this has got to be getting close to fighting Khamzat Chimaev for the middleweight strap. Certainly Fluffy, because the man is on an 8-fight win streak and he's seemingly only getting better with every single outing. On the other side, we've got Sean Strickland, of course, the former champion that took the belt from Israel Adesanya in shocking fashion. I mean, in the first round, he put it on Israel, almost finished him, and then out-edged him, out-pointed him, out-boxed him, out-struck him. He shocked the world, but he got the job done, and he became the middleweight champion, but he lost it against Dricus du Plessis. And then, of course, after beating Paulo Costa and looking really good, dropping Paulo Costa in the first round, in the second round, in a 5-round affair, in a co-main event, right? Sean Strickland fights nothing but 5-round fights, by the way. He got another shot against Dricus du Plessis, and of course he came up short in that one. Now, his coach, Eric Nixick, felt like he didn't really go out there and leave it all inside the octagon.
I think he needs to evaluate.
Okay, so you just heard the breakdown of where Sean Strickland was coming into this fight, losing his belt, public fallout with his coach Eric Nixick. The narrative was building that maybe Tarzan was losing a step, right? That perhaps his best days were behind him. But let me tell you, the MMA community didn't just react to a fight this weekend. They exploded over how Sean Strickland absolutely destroyed Anthony Hernandez. This wasn't a comeback, this was a statement. Forget the question marks, Strickland showed up, locked in, and delivered a performance that reminded everyone why he's one of the most dangerous middleweights on the planet. The chatter about a pivotal matchup's undersold what we actually witnessed.
What he wants to do in the sport.
And they had a bit of a public fallout, bit of a dispute or whatever.
And he's going to continue to be a friend of mine. Will he probably be in my corner? Probably not.
But it's all good in the hood. They are brothers and they got thick skin. And Sean Strickland certainly likes to talk a bit of shit. And he's been talking a lot about Khamzat Chimaev. He feels he is the only person to beat him.
I think I'm probably the only one that could beat Chimaev.
Anyway, I talked about that a few days ago. We're not going to get into all of that. I was with Khamzat a couple of days ago. I did an episode of the Jackson podcast. He was there with the whole Chechen mafia. He said that you're terrible for the division and he's the only guy out there to beat you.
We did spar a lot before, but that's why he's so mad.
I am telling you, Khamzat is the team leader. He's got a little team of crazy talented Chechens. Guys that, by the way, said this real Hunter guy choked out Sean Strickland multiple times. I asked Khamzat, he said that he choked out Strickland multiple times, but Strickland still feels that he's the only one to beat him. But all these guys, these Chechens, they look up to Khamzat Chimaev because he is the team leader and he's down there at the Jackson Studios, the Santos Studios, pardon me. He's doing his camp already. He's not doing a camp for a training camp. He's doing a pre-camp. I asked him, who's the next person? Who's it going to be? Is it Imavov?
And just when you thought Sean couldn't get more Sean, he's out here stirring the pot with Khamzat Chimaev. You hear the claims about being choked out in sparring? That's classic Strickland. Always pushing boundaries. Always talking smack. Always confident he's the best. While the Chechen mafias might have their own stories, this segment perfectly highlights the psychological warfare Strickland wages even outside the cage. This level of confidence, some might call it delusion, is exactly what fuels his aggressive style. It's why he's so polarizing, and frankly, why the destruction of Hernandez was so shocking to those who underestimated his mental fortitude.
We don't know. He wouldn't say. He's staying very, very tight-lipped about the whole situation. His last fight, after all, was August 2025. It's time to get back in there. And Fluffy versus Strickland. The winner of this fight could be the next one. Now, the first thing, when you talk about Fluffy and Sean Strickland, it is the level of competition that they have faced. Sure, Fluffy, who is getting better, who put an absolute beat down on Roman Dolidze before he got the stoppage in the fourth round. I am telling you, he beat him up. He beat him on the feet. He took him down. He let him up. He took him down. He almost choked him out. It was a very, very tough night and a very violent performance by Fluffy Hernandez. But when we look at the competition, it's Roman Dolidze. And by the way, these are all good wins. I am not taking away from Fluffy here. They are tremendous wins. And an 8-fight win streak, very hard to do. I never had an 8-fight win streak in the UFC. So, Roman Dolidze, Brendan Allen, Michel Pereira, Roman Kopylov, Edmund Shabazian, Marc-Andre Barrios, Rodolfo Vieira, and Josh Fremd. They are all tough opponents, and certainly Kopylov, Pereira, Brendan Allen, and Roman Dolidze, they are not a walk in the park for anybody.
Alright, so we're talking about Fluffy Hernandez's resume, and make no mistake, this guy is legit. An 8-fight win streak in the UFC's middleweight division? That's no joke. He's beaten some serious contenders like Roman Dolidze and Brendan Allen. The commentator here acknowledges his tremendous wins, and he's right too. Fluffy was on a roll, getting better with every outing, looking like a real problem for anyone at 185 pounds. He was absolutely positioned as the next big threat, which makes what Sean Strickland did to him even more shocking to the entire MMA community. This wasn't a low-stakes fight for Hernandez. It was supposed to be his coming out party.
When you compare it to the resume of Sean Strickland, that, as I say, has been fighting in almost exclusively 5-round fights, so he's got the cardio because the man spars all the time, okay? He's out there beating up streamers left, right, and center, knocking out sparring partners, whether it's Sneeko, whether it's Neon, whoever these guys are, right? He loves to beat up a good sparring partner, whether it's at the PI or at the Syndicate MMA in Las Vegas. He loves to spar, he loves to fight, and that is the best way to prepare for a fight. It really is. If you want to get good at tennis, play tennis. If you want to get better at swimming, you practice swimming. If you want to get better at fighting and not get tired whilst fighting, you gotta fight. You gotta spar. You gotta replicate the situation. You have to train like you're going to fight. Because if you don't train like that, if you're gonna go out there in a fight and swing for the fences and try and knock your opponent out, but in the gym, you're all tippy-tappy, You're going to get tired. So you got to train the way that you're going to fight. Now, let's talk about the opponents of Sean Strickland. And don't worry, we're going to get into all the stats, the figures, the breakdowns, the numbers, the percentages, and I'm going to give you some keys to victory for both men and some interesting facts. Now, first of all, the opponents: Dricus du Plessis, Paulo Costa, Dricus du Plessis, Israel Adesanya, Abus Magomedov, Nassourdine Imavov, who is the number one contender right now, Jared Cannonier, who's fought for a belt before, and Alex Pereira. They're the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 fights of Sean Strickland. That is crazy. And before that, it was Jack Hermanson, Uriah Hall, Christoph Jotko, Brendan Allen, Jack Marshman, that he just talked shit to the entirety of the fight whilst piecing him up on the feet. That is a crazy run. Pereira, Cannonier, Imavov, Abus Magomedov, Israel Adesanya.
Now, here's where the rubber meets the road. Sean Strickland's resume. You just heard it rattled off. Du Plessis twice, Paulo Costa, Israel Adesanya, Alex Pereira. The man has fought a murderer's row. But it's not just who he's fought, it's how he prepares. The commentator nailed it. Strickland's unique approach to training, constantly sparring and fighting, is what molds him. While some might scoff at him beating up streamers, it's clear he lives and breathes fighting. This high-level experience and relentless sparring fundamentally prepared him for the kind of relentless pressure he unleashed to utterly destroy Anthony Hernandez.
Dricus du Plessis, Paulo Costa, and Dricus du Plessis once again. So there is a little bit of a step up here for Fluffy. Doesn't mean he can't win, doesn't mean he can't beat him, and certainly Fluffy's getting better every single time out. Now, let's talk about both of these guys. Now, first of all, let me just look at my notes here. Now, the first weapon of Sean is the jab, okay? And I've got it here. This is the main weapon that he uses, and it's to keep his opponents at bay. He busts them up constantly, and it's also a very low-risk strike. Remember, jab, straight, lead hand, A to B, as the crow fly. It's very, very low risk as well. When you're swinging big shots, you leave openings for counters straight down the pipe. But the jab, boom, you just pump that out all day. And Sean has a fast jab, he has a powerful jab, and he also walks you down. So the jab is a low risk maneuver. It also sets up other shots as well. As he starts to break his opponents down, as he starts to bust up the nose and all the rest of it, then you start throwing a 1-2 behind it. And when they start to get rocked and wobbled, then Sean Strickland goes to town, starts screaming like a madman, and starts fighting dick to dick, nipple to nipple, right? Only in those situations, though, because most of the time, Sean is very cool, calm, collected, composed. He's got all the C's, right? There might be a few other ones we can throw in there as well. But another thing that he uses very, very well is the teeps, the front kicks to the midsection.
The jab. So simple, yet so devastating in Strickland's hands. The commentator describes it perfectly as his main weapon, a low-risk, high-reward strike that just constantly busts opponents up. This isn't just about scoring points, it's about control, breaking down the opponent mentally and physically. When Sean is plumbing that out all day, he's setting up everything else, creating those openings. This strategic, almost methodical approach with the jab is key to how he can walk opponents down and eventually flip the switch to fighting dick to dick. It was a clinic in controlled violence against Hernandez.
Again, it stops your opponent coming forward. You stab them in the stomach. If you kick them with the ball of the foot right in the solar plexus, and certainly when they're breathing in, it hurts. And they pile up. They add up throughout a 5-round affair. You start to get tired. You start to get gassed. Your stomach's hurting. You're struggling to breathe. And Sean Strickland's walking you down, talking shit, just jabbing away, kicking you in the stomach, doing weird movements with his legs, which kind of throws you off. And again, going forward with that forward pressure, that will be the key. Because if he can force Fluffy onto the back foot, it's going to be hard for Fluffy to shoot. And Fluffy generally isn't the type of guy that fights well retreating. He's a guy that likes to go forward, to get in the face of his opponents, throw shots, and then take them down. Now, by advancing forward for Sean, using the jabs and using the teeps, it's going to throw Fluffy off, and it's going to allow Sean to control the geography inside the octagon, and then generally be in control of the fight. And then another big key takeaway for Sean Strickland is his ability to get back up. Fluffy likes to take people down. Sean gets up really good, okay? That's because he spars all the time, because he's always resting, because the man's always training, and he makes it look very easy. It is easy if you drill and train it enough. I used to get up pretty easily myself. Sean Strickland does the same thing, and that suits Fluffy just fine because he likes to take people down and then let them stand back up. But if Fluffy can't take him down, if Fluffy does start to take him down, but Sean stops it, disengage.
Beyond the jab, Strickland's use of teeps and his relentless forward pressure are fight-ending tools. As the commentator explains, those front kicks to the midsection accumulate, sapping the opponent's will and breath. This isn't flashy, it's brutal efficiency. And critically, his takedown defense, his ability to just get back up really good, is often overlooked. Fluffy Hernandez's entire game relies on mixing it up and getting opponents to the mat. Strickland neutralizing that core strength, making Fluffy waste energy on failed takedowns, was a huge factor in how Sean Strickland systematically destroyed Anthony Hernandez.
This guy has a tremendous ability to stand and trade in the pocket. So Sean's got to be careful of this, because a lot of people will throw a shot like Roman Dolidze. Fluffy takes it, and then that is where there is an opportunity to counter. And Fluffy's got a great chin, and as soon as he gets hit, he doesn't back away. He stands his ground because he knows that's his opportunity.